boom, bada bang. We are live. Welcome, Stig. And we got Fear over there cooking in the background. So he's going to be off the mic for a little bit. So today we're going to be talking about primordial mounds. And just let everybody know where they can find your work at first before we start, David. Or Stig, I should
Oh,
say, because I
okay.
know that's what you like.
Well, I used to think it was important, right? Very important. Here's my channel. You can get there by going to my middle name at Stig. I got a website now, davidstighansen.com, and that's really going to kind of be more updated. I'm going to try to change this channel around. I do want more subscribers, but I'm going to be doing a lot of new stuff, loading stuff on Patreon. How's my sound level? I was just going to try to listen to it.
Everything is good.
Yeah, good, because I just set this new little area up. Wow, is that me? Oh, there I am. I'm going to close that. Okay. Yeah, primordial mounds. Yeah, this is the exciting topic. And I know we have, what, about 45 minutes, a half hour to talk?
Yeah, because later, right after this, I'm going to do my presentation on the Anunnaki. I actually created a PowerPoint slide presentation about the Anunnaki, so that way I can give a basic understanding of who the Anunnaki are and where they came from and stuff like that. I want to take away all the misinformation that's out there and all this exaggeration of who they are and stuff. So I actually put a PowerPoint slide together to, help with that, because I really feel like there's a lot of misinformation about there, and a lot of
Right.
people are exaggerating on what it is on them.
Well, and
There's,
that's the thing. There's so many questions one has. Like we hear that we have Sitson, right? We don't want to get too deep into it, but we have two basic authors who could read the cuneiform back in the day, and one of them was wrong, apparently, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say necessarily one was wrong, but I will say that one wasn't able to provide actual evidence for what they were saying, and the other one was able to, or a couple of people were able to. And there's basic sources out there for them and stuff like that. So, I just try to I want to keep it to the basics of who they are. So yeah, that's why I basically created that PowerPoint, and that's what I'm going to start doing from this point on, because a better presentation of stuff will probably get more attention rather than people who exaggerate stuff.
It's tough out there to get to wade through the stuff, and yeah, the stuff is getting deeper and deeper every day as we move along. It's really hard to stay focused, in my opinion. Well, I didn't want to get too deep into your subject, but for sure, I heard you were looking at my video. Which one were you watching?
I have to bring it up because I can't remember the names of
It's
them.
got copyrighted. It's got copyrighted. I'll bring it up, but I'm not going to play it because it's got copyrighted music on it. We don't want to mess with any monetization. Actually, that's a good question. Am I monetized right now? That's a good question. Probably should be, right? Lately, I haven't had a problem. There it is. Yeah, monetized. But the only chance I have at making money is during the actual live stream. So that's why I want to make sure there's a good thumbnail before it starts, and that's why I want to make sure it's monetized during the live stream. So let me just go on here. What am I doing? Oh, content. What am I? I'm going over to my shorts. And if you look at the shorts, the one that we're talking about is kind of far back. Now, there it is.
The one that I was watching was you talked about the Sutter's Butte at California. That's the one that I was watching earlier. Right. And then
I don't know what happened. Here's the one in Chinese. Let me just play it, but with no music, with no sound, because the music is copyrighted. Where's that thing right here? Now this, yeah. So it says, is there a way to turn on the subtitles here? Let me see if I can do it. Captions right here. Oh, but this is in Chinese, so it doesn't matter. We're not doing it. There's Sutter's Butte in California, and I went there back when I went to CPAC 2024. It was right next to it, and I had to drive over there and check it out. So that's why. And the funny thing is, there's two things there. There's the big thing, but there's walls all over it, and I do believe those walls are a lot more difficult than simple farmer cow walls. And what I think is some of those rocks are bigger than cars. And people thought that they were put up by the Chinese rail workers from the 1800s. That's the rumor. So,
did you find any pictographs there?
Say that again. What?
Pictographs, any writings or anything on the rocks and stuff like that?
The problem with that, let's go to the Earth map. Let's go right there right now. and I'll show you the situation. It's easy to find, even though the topographical, let's look at the topography too. There it is, topography wise. And when you look at that, what it says to me is that it's old. It's been degraded for a long time. So where's the top? Apparently it would be in the middle, right? But you've actually got a peak here now and a peak over there. So to me, that's millions of years degraded. So I think whoever put that there, they were designing the whole valley. I heard it was full of water at one point in time. This whole Central Valley apparently was even full of water just a couple hundred years ago. Did you hear about this?
Yeah. It's actually funny you say that, because you could actually tell that that's some kind of water. That was a place that would hold water right there. That little, just that would be considered probably. Yeah, that would definitely look like that.
We call it California's Central Valley. I had to study this when I was a kid. By the way, something else. This is also definitely said to be the San Andreas Fault right there. But look how symmetrical that other line is right there. So if those are tectonic lines, and that's definitely the San Andreas Fault right there. What's this other one? I don't know. I never learned about this other one. We didn't have this kind of cool topography. It's definitely a weird angle, and you can almost measure the angle right there. I do. I should get a protractor that I have in my hand so I could just measure it in my hand, honestly. Why don't I do that? I'm going to do that next. But to me, that looks like a really solid angle at the bottom of the Central Valley of California. Like what? Maybe they made a little dam there. When I say they, I'm talking about the ancients. And we are having to, let go of science right now a little bit and kind of just open our minds as to this idea that I have. But I just think this is too convenient, too centered, right in the middle. I went around the whole thing. All right, so now let me zoom in there with this map. It looks a little different. And when you go there, I was coming from this direction over here. So I can't remember how I did it. Probably went this way because I was coming from another bigger. Where was I? I was up in the hills. It's very beautiful. It was called California City, I think. No, that's not right. So just let me say, sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of a live stream. Give me about 30 minutes. Thanks. Bye. Okay, sorry. It was an important call. So we're in Northern California, and let me get rid of that pin right there. I don't know what that was for. That was for something else. And you can see that there's a lot of degraded area that can't be used by the farms. So the big middle part, the Sutters, it says buttes, right? So when you zoom in, it shows an S, like there's more than one. But honestly, when you back out, it's just like there's one. It's just degraded. So I think it's old. I won't talk about that anymore. I came over here and I entered, and I found myself on Sanders or so, I think. And I kind of cut down whenever I hit an area that couldn't be driven through. I cut down. It was all fenced in. There's a couple of farms that you could probably get in the back way. But if you're trying to get in any real way, I entered right here, the city of Sutter. There's a cemetery right there. And I drove right past it. And then it cut back up in and took this road up into it. And it got beautiful. And now it's coming back to me. There's this mound right here. I don't even remember. It's a very interesting mound right here. I don't remember what I had to say. I said so. I discovered something about this mound. We can drop the man down so we can get on the ground here and look at it from the ground. So we do have smaller mounds down here. It wasn't just that one main mound. Well, look at this biplane right here. Check that out.
I was just about to say that. They got a good
picture. They're doing their what do you call it? Fumigating? Is it fumigation? An airplane fumigates? I don't know. It's pesticides, right? You see a lot of that up in Omaha, Nebraska, all the pesticides. So anyways, it's this little valley. This is the beginning of it. And let me get out of here real quick. I just wanted to show you that one mound. But that one mound is just the beginning of the road. So you're kind of outside. Let me back out and show you. We keep seeing this Dean Place. I don't know what that's about. But you see this one road that cuts through. So that's the road that I took right there. And the funny thing was, is right away I started to see the walls, these ancient walls. They're everywhere, and they're kind of hard to find from Google Earth. But when you drop it to the ground, they're easy to see. I'm just trying to find a significant one. They're all over. So there's the mound right here. So once we get past that main mound, it's kind of past this. What were we gonna say?
Oh, I was going to ask you, since it's mounds, what Native American tribe is around that area? Do you know?
I don't know that, but if you know me, I don't believe it. I think it goes way, way farther back.
Way
I
before
mean,
that?
now,
Yeah.
as far as the walls go, okay, so how far does Native American tribes go back? 3,000 years, could you fairly say?
No, shit. The one we have in Georgia, they go
12,000?
back. Yeah. Well, we have a Native American. The culture goes back almost 18,000 years in some places in Georgia. The Okmulgee Mounds.
Okay, there you
Their
go.
history started around 17,000 years ago.
Okay.
So
And I think it's fair to say that okay, you could easily find that number everywhere in the North America, right? I mean, distribution's got to be rivers. I mean, what big rivers right there where you just mentioned?
yeah, that's actually it's interesting because that area, if I remember correctly, when you go to the Pilot Mountain, um, they say that it started that some people believe it started millions of years ago.
Oh, I would
So
believe it too. I believe it too. I think something created this mound. And what we're seeing is a cut through. So naturally, I would say a waterway came through here. I mean, look at this straight line going straight up the mountain right there. So that's one of them. And then you see a 90-degree angle over here. And people might look at that and say, no, that's modern day. But down the road here, you see more. I'm going to kind of I see them. They're right over there, right where the arrow is on the mountain. And the closer you get, there's not very many on the right-hand side over here. These are the more obviously modern day walls. And the thing is that some of these rocks are really big. I don't think it could be Chinese immigrants from the 1800s that made these. These are not as impressive, but we're going to see some bigger ones. And also these walls go up and down all over this hill. So it's just kind of weird when you look at them closely. They don't look like they would have been made for, like, what are they made for modern day use? I mean, yeah, maybe some kind of agriculture or cows. I can believe that. I know this is really hard. There, this one is easy to see from here. Check this one out. Check this one out right there. Can you see that
I
there?
see the lines. Yeah. Definitely.
Now you can see this one also is going this direction, and it's not like it's anything modern day. So how far back do you want to go? 100 years? I think it's more like 500 years. Like something was going on that was maybe interrupted by the Spanish arrival, by the Spanish. There's terracing right there for me. That's for sure terracing, in my opinion. And then up here at the top of the mountain. Okay, so this is not the highest part. By the way, I want to turn it north-south. So this is the way it should be. So right now we're kind of examining this part of this whole big mound right here. Stupid fly. Really bugging me. Kind of hard to see, but if you can drop the man, you can find some of these back roads with the man's there, and you can see these. Where is it? Oh, the man's turned off. Maybe I'm wrong. So up here, there's a whole bunch of that stuff. And like I said, we're talking about two different activities, two different events. There's a couple of other things I want to say. So this is the area. You don't have access to any of this. You can't get up there.
Wait. What do you mean you can't get up there? Like it's not.
Well, there's a gate, and you can get in the gate if you have the access code. The gate that I found was right over here on this side, right over here. Now it was right. I entered either Sanders.
So somebody actually blocked it off. Well,
let me see if I can find that gate so you can see what. And I actually, when I drove up, the gate was open. And I was going to drive it in, but I'm like, wait a minute. If I drive in and the gate closes, how am I going to get out again? It's right here. Yeah, here we go. And here's the other thing. There's another big, huge stone here. So this is the gate I'm talking about. And it looks like it's open right now. Maybe it's always open. Here, let me drop the man so you can see it. But when I went here and I saw that open, I didn't want to drive in there because I can't remember the time. It wasn't that late. It was about 2 p.m. or something.
And they didn't have anything posted that said.
I just was,
the
yeah.
times, huh?
Well, I don't see anything posted right there.
Yeah, I don't see
There was
anything
something on that gate right there, but I read it. I took a picture. If there was something posted, I took a picture. So here, a couple of rocks are sitting there. Now, here's the whole thing about this whole area. If this really is this huge mound like that, right? And the place that we're talking about is like right there. And that other road is through here. And I didn't finish going through there. There's a lot of interesting things in here. But like I said, over here on the south side, I showed you, if you can even probably see them here in this valley, you could see those lines. Obviously, that's modern day. You can't really see the old stuff very easily, but sometimes you can on the topographical. Luckily, with the Google Earth, it's very clear. Let me just, what was I showing you? There was one other thing I was showing you. Okay, I messed up. Let me stick with this. What I wanted to say here was that when we get out of here, I did drive in there a little bit. I went around the corner and I took some pictures. I'm sorry I don't have those pictures ready, but I think I got like right here and I zoomed in. And this wall here, believe it or not, it's between two metal fences. So it's modern day.
I want to know why they did that though, because that's not natural. That's not natural.
Well, when I say modern day, by the way, it could still be 200 years old. And you can see this little angled wall here. Like, why would they do that modern day? I think there's some, it is a property line of some sort. And let's go over here. And it cuts through, and I don't know, man. It looks like I could have driven in there without, if I was smart, I wouldn't have needed to go through the fence right there. I could have gone through some private property and gone the back road right there. So if you do your, you can figure out ways to get in and out of there. The thing was, I didn't really have the time to kill, and I didn't want to take the risk. But all I'm saying about this fence was that it has, not chicken wire, bigger than chicken wire on both sides, and it's filled with rocks. So somebody still put some effort there. But this rock right here, and you can see it, that's a lot bigger than any of the other rocks. Why that's there is questionable. And I started to think about it. I'm like, well, what is this made out of? And I heard it's made out of volcanic rock. Well, I just don't see it. I just don't get that. How could
is there a volcano near there?
Well, I guess the implication from this claim is that this was a volcano. But it doesn't look like a volcano at all to me. And then if we start to look at these other ones, this is in Utah. And then here's the one in Australia. This is it's called a crater for sure. And but it doesn't look like a regular crater to me at all. I mean, I don't know. We can talk about that in a minute. But the first one in California, to me, it doesn't really make sense for it to be. And by the way, there's that mound sitting right in the middle. And it just sticks out like a sore thumb in the middle of that thing. It just, to me, I feel like there was a lot of events here. I feel like someone dropped this here. It could have been a paid dirt, but I doubt it because I think they were creating a view plateau from 365 degrees. Just like that Harlan Williams property he bought. He just told Bill Burr he bought a property that had a hill. You could see all around for 365 degrees. He goes up there and blasts his stereo and drinks, and just meditates. But somebody probably lived up here. This is big, right? This is a big, huge thing. How far across is this mound? Now here, where does it start? I wouldn't say way out here. I'd say right about here. It's about 5 miles, almost 6 miles wide right there. So 6 miles is a big distance to just sit on the top of a hill and check out 365. There's probably a castle up there. And there's modern day stuff up there right now. These peaks on the north side, I think they're pretty empty. But over here on the south side, you've got a lot of radio antennas. I'll show you. When you zoom in, you can. Where's north? I got to make sure it's north. What made you go look at my video? Because you said you checked it out for a second time.
I watch your videos because there's a lot of ideas out there about, you know, the Native Americans and stuff like that. And I just wanted to see what Native American group was in that area at that time. I was actually just searching some stuff on YouTube, and your short had just popped up, and I was like, okay, let me watch this. And then um, right
Oh, because
before,
you put in Sutter's Butte.
well, I've read it. Where did I read it from? I read it from somebody has shared it to me, shared something about it to me on X, and when I typed it in YouTube, your short actually popped up. And
Interesting.
then yeah, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that you had posted anything about that. I need to probably do the alert thing too with the, you know, every time you post something, I get an alert on it. And I looked at it and watched it, and I actually
Ooh.
went on my Google Earth also and looked at it too. And I was pretty interested in it because of the simple fact that uh, it reminded me of Pilot Mountain, and because I know that
Oh,
Pilot, a lot of people talk, a lot of people have shared that that Pilot Mountain happened, you know, many millions of years ago. That it was a slow process and stuff. I was wondering if this location that you was showing was probably the beginning stages of what could be like Pilot Mountain. Of course, I never been to California
let's
to
check
see
out
that
Pilot
mountain.
Mountain under the. Let's check out Pilot Mountain under the topographical map if I can find it. Maybe you can help me because I haven't. I guess maybe I'll type it in. Pilot
Yeah,
Mountain.
it's interesting because this could be the beginning stages of something that could be created like that.
Right. Oh, well, and then there's my little theory about those big mountains. It's a little bit of a stretch. Sorry, I was burping. Pilot Mountain, North Carolina. So there we are. It says Pilot Mountain, but I can't see anything. That's weird. I mean, where is it? Oh, wait, is it there? It's got to be there, right? Look at
I have
that. Now, look at this ridge right here. See, that ridge right there to me looks a little bit sus. And then you've got another one right there that kind of hooks off of it and disappears. So you've got these weird ridges, and then over here you got another one right there. I do question that, especially since it goes across the waterway right there. And then you can see it continues. These are called magmatic dikes. That's what most of the time, unless it's some other escarpment, maybe it was created. Look at over here. Here's another little part of that line. So I do question geography mainstream. Look how it turns so straight right there. So Pilot Mountain does connect to some highly sus stuff. Is that Pilot Mountain right there? That must be Pilot Mountain right here, right?
I'll have to see it from a different viewpoint on it. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's it or not. I
Okay,
just
let's take a
remember
look
how
at
it
the
looked on the top.
luckily, this works pretty well. We just grab it right here, and then we can put it in Google Earth and duplicate Google Earth and then drop it in there. Because there's so much. Okay, what's this? All right, we're going to zoom into Pilot Mountain, North Carolina. Really? Yeah, so see, that's got to be it. Okay, so obviously we can see it so much clearly now. Yeah, so
Yeah, you see how that is? You see that little
for
spot right
sure,
there?
there's the Pilot Mountain right there, and then this area here is there's the road that leads
Hmm.
up to the parking lot right there, and we hiked up to about here, the top of there, so we could look at Pilot Mountain, and there it is right there, and we were there together, you and I. Pilot Mountain. The problem is look what they do. See, they fuck it all up, is what they do. One of the things you can do when you get into a situation like this is go into the historical imagery, and then back it up a couple of notches. There's the one that so they seem to have a newer one there, but they're not using it because probably the clouds. So they go to the one before it. So this is still might be a more recent scan. And we can probably get some pictures of this from here too, right? So obviously we're going to get a lot of the shots that you and I were taking. And that you got the great shot. I stole your picture. The one that's
I
the
took a
pyramid.
lot of good pictures.
You
In
got
fact,
the pyramid,
yeah, I got the pyramid where the
the
when the sun
shadow.
goes down. Yeah, I got the picture. And, you know, I got the whole video on my YouTube. You know, where, you know, the ceremony from Yona. French Hawk, and I got Randall Carson talking about it.
Right, right,
And
right.
I got JP McKelvey. I hope I said his name correctly. He actually has a good book out there on that. So it's very interesting about this because we call them mounds. I know you know who Dr. Gregory Little is, and I
Yeah.
asked him specifically. I said, "Can you tell me how you could tell if a mound is man-made or if it's natural?" And he gave me, some pointers, and I still really don't understand it. So I have to do my due diligence to get better representation and understanding of it. But some of these mounds were made naturally and some of them were made by man, and it's just interesting to know what I've learned about Pilot Mountain and so on and so forth.
Well, again, look at it again. Okay, so it's in the middle of nowhere. I've been studying this stuff for a while, and I do believe that ancient giants or other highly intelligent beings, maybe even humans, somehow did some stuff that was this big. And you can see that arc; it's going right across the waterway. It doesn't make it to the other side. I believe it's old. I believe it got washed away, or maybe things changed. Maybe it was blocking this water. And but you can see these things. The Appalachian Mountains show so much weird stuff. When you zoom out over here, I start to question some of these Appalachian curves. I know it looks too big to be anything but natural, but when you compare it to those ley lines I'm about to show you in Australia and to the Atlas Mountains themselves, when you see these back and forth hairpin turn mountains, it's kind of hard to explain exactly how this was formed. So I do question it, and yeah, it may be a little bit too out there for some people. Like, I don't include this with my Rashat structure information. If anybody doesn't know who I am, I went to the Eye of the Sahara 3 times, and because I think the Eye of the Sahara was Atlantis. However, then you look at the rest of the world, and older stuff starts to show up. Part of the thing I was talking earlier was what's in Colorado. Look at this one. This one sticks out. What is that? That sticks out. I get lost in Google Earth sometimes. Going into Colorado,
Hello.
down here by the bottom, we have. Go on. I'm listening.
I was
Did
just
you
saying
just say
hello,
something?
gentlemen.
Oh, hi,
What's up,
Fear.
Phil? What's up, bro?
How you doing? So a couple of
I'm
way
doing pretty
out
good.
there. Where you at? I saw you had a lot of stuff going on this week, Fear. A lot of
Yeah,
conversation.
my mother fell and broke her hip, so she had a total hip replacement. And so I've
Oh my
been
God.
taking care of her and doctor's appointments, not only for her, but also for myself. I've been having some procedures done. I've already had 4, and I got to go back on Wednesday to get a checkup on one to see if I need an additional 4 more. But then, yeah, I got other doctors, and I'm writing the cookbook, and I'm trying to balance things and get my bike out of the mechanic shop and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, everything's crazy at the moment.
What have you been cooking lately?
A lot. I just did a chicken zucchini risotto last night, and right now I'm cooking pork chops and doing some frog raw and also some black-eyed peas.
I heard that the prices of beef are going up. Have you noticed this?
Not really. Being down here in Texas, I go to my local butcher shop and everything is locally sourced. I mean, it's on average going to be about 50 cents to $1 more, but that's because it's local and it's not, Walmart processed bullshit. But other than that, no, not really. I mean, I never really agreed with the price of prime rib or, a ribeye steak, but, that's just me personally.
Thank you, 757. Well, it's 5 p.m. here, so I'll probably have to get some food soon. But we were talking about these mounds, and I noticed Indigenous Minds was just saying about Stonewall, Colorado. That's actually right down here. Kind of have to go down, but there's all sorts of magmatic dikes. And the thing about it is here's one that's super long right here. The longest one I found is about 13 and a half miles, just south of here in Oh, look at this one, Ude Mountain, another, big old mound in the middle of a valley.
Hey, bring up the man and see if you can see it from see that one closer.
This one, Ude Mountain.
That one, yeah. Oh,
This
see,
one.
no, they don't really have anything, huh?
Well, you can. Yeah, I actually believe I did this before. I went right here so I could look at it from a distance, and they always do that. Is that it over there? No, there it is over there. County Road
Are
B.
there any petroglyphs or anything that you could see from the sky? Like
You
the
know, it's
Nazca
funny.
lines?
I heard you. So you said, I thought you said petroglyphs. Nazca lines, yes. If you were just up there in the in this one right here, this is the one in Central California. They're not really Nazca lines. Something else was going on. Where is it? Right. Well, I guess I navigated away. Where was it? That's Pilot Mountain. We were just there talking about the lines and the weird Appalachian Mountains. But going over to Central California, if you zoom in there, this line right here, let me just go over and show you. If you zoom in, this one can't rotate. So it's always north-south. And right through here, there's like this valley. So in my opinion, this whole thing is really old. But the degradation, look at these lines right here. That to me says somebody messed with it more than that's a natural thing. And when you zoom in, let me make sure it's north-south so I can see it right. Right here, there's a bunch of lines. We were just looking at them. Did you see that already, Fear, or were you not paying attention?
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
here.
I saw
Look
that.
at
I was watching in the background.
this was one of the things. I wouldn't really call them a Nazca line, but they are these ancient walls. And when
They
you
could be
zoom
called
in,
ley lines. A good person, actually, somebody that I'm going to shout out right now because you brought that up. Ricardo Cavarero. I hope I said his name correctly. I butcher his last name up a lot of times. I always have to
I know
have
him.
him correct me. Yeah, he actually wrote the book, The Resonant Earth. He talks about the energy within the earth and stuff like that. And I'm curious what kind of rocks those are. That's
Well, see,
forming
that's
those
just,
lines.
I forgot to finish that part. They're volcanic. And that's the thing. Where's the volcano? It doesn't look like a volcano. Yeah, you can argue it's a volcano because it's made of volcanic rock. But when I was, and it's something I forgot to say, but before I get away, there's some other walls that I could see from the road. And yeah, it looks like someone was doing something agricultural, but these big volcanic rocks are literally bigger than cars. So how could farmers move that stuff? Did they use a tractor to drag these big, huge? I mean, these rocks are big, and you can kind of see, yeah, they're kind of similar to the modern day road. So I wouldn't say that they're millions of years old, but I don't think they're just 100 years old. I think they're like 200, 300, not the work of the Chinese immigrants that when they were done building the railroads went up to the mountains and started doing this. I don't believe that for a second. Okay, so I was going to say one more thing. Oh, yeah. So when I was just coming in here, there's a couple places I stopped and looked around. So here's one road that clearly goes up, but it's blocked off. It goes up, and there's a lot of towers, and so they definitely serve the valley with communication on this mountain. So it's got that value. And here's that mountain, but I'm trying to find this one campground. Maybe it's back here out of town. I'm a little lost, but I went in there, and what I was looking at was the way the volcanic rocks were all on top of the mound. It's like the volcanic rocks don't belong like that. Like they were scattered from a like an explosion of some sort, not from being igneously placed through lava, then turning in eroding away and becoming what I don't have a picture of that rock, but not prepared. But I could show you. It's in one of my videos. But yeah, you call as far as ley lines go, stuff like that. I don't really count ley lines. As far as the big stuff goes, take a look at this one. Now, this is in Utah, right? Pardon me while I cough. You have this valley. I forgot the name of this valley, but on the other side of the mountains, these 3 or maybe 4 peaks, it looks like the valley continues. Is it possible that this valley is a lot older than those mountains? Is it possible? And you can kind of see the magnetic lines that I'm talking about. They look like they're definitely degraded. Oh, and earlier I was going to show you Colorado to show you some more straight modern day ones, something that looks like it's actually still one full piece. That's when re-indigenizing minds said, yeah, I thank you also. He came onto my channel and commented, re-indigenizing minds has a lot of wise things to say about this topic. As you can see from when I backed out, there's two valleys here. And, you know, I have a weird theory. When we go to Colorado, so let's go back to Colorado real quick to look at these so-called volcanic dikes or magmatic dikes. And it's right next to all this other stuff I was showing you just before Fear popped in. And you can also see these two peaks. Up here, you've got all these things. Now, bad scans, let me turn off the history. Maybe that's what's causing it. But you can see these things make a little bit more intelligent sense. So I don't want to get too into it because I don't think we have a lot of time. But these lines, I do believe, were placed by somebody. And what Indigenizing Minds just said in the comment about Stonewall being a transport road all the way down to where in Baja California? You don't have to pull the comment back up, but what did he say? He mentioned something in Baja California. Well, wait, Baja California is way over there. So that road would have to go basically follow the Colorado River in a way. What did he say was there? Because Stonewall, Colorado is right here. And if you zoom in, Stonewall Gap, you can see the wall looks like it was laid out right around here. It's kind of hard to find it with the man. Let me just get the man down there and we'll take one quick look. Where is that? Because it's hard to see, but I think that's the stone wall right there. And when you get into the man, you can't really see it. Let's go over here where we might be able to see a picture of that. There we go. Well, that's up in the air. So that's Stonewall, and apparently, like in my opinion, it was the ancient round to Angel what Island? Where's Angel Island in Baja? I don't know that.
Wow, that wall is pretty interesting. Go back to that one picture that you just had. Let me see that again. Of that wall. You had a close up.
Somebody took this picture. It looks like they did it from a drone. So we'll have to. Yeah, somebody took a drone shot. And they call these
magnetic. It goes all the way across too.
Goes for miles and miles. And same with the one that's connected to Sage Wall. Sage Wall is not so big, but look at the way it's like this valley that just goes and this thing separates it. Yeah, that's a great shot. And another thing about it is I got in my presentation, which I won't go get, it looks like this stuff was layered out in, to me, it looks like the way it's degrading. It looks like it was built with layers. Let me grab that just so we have it. Just so we can show the public what I'm talking about. I've got this presentation that I did from, what do you call it? Cosmic Summit. And I did one shot of that stone wall. We're not talking about the Rashad structure today. We're not talking about Atlantis. All those slides I'm passing by talk about all that. But there's no need to go back and go over these things. This is South Africa. Now, I can show this now because I want to take you there soon. No. That's the wrong thing. Done. I went slideshow. Michael Tellinger shows us these stone circles down in South Africa, but he doesn't really show these ridges, these walls, this terraforming. I think that these intersections were transport roads. These are matching shortcuts in two different intersections and stuff like that. That's one of the intersections right there. Michael Tellinger finally saw this. I found this mound there. Stig's Mound, I call it.
Dang, that looked like a ziggurat. Go back to that one. Go back to that one picture where it looked like a step pyramid or something. It looked like a step. Yeah, right there. Look, yeah.
Yeah, and there's and that little white dot right over here, that's a house. And there's a ridge going along the front of it. You might say, well, that doesn't have anything to do with these transport roads. Yeah, it does, because there's a ridge that goes right across the front of it.
Dang, that looks crazy.
Miles. Well, let's just go there. But I'm going to forget what I wanted to show you. We can go there. That's South Africa. That's Stig's Mound. There's 5 other places in South Africa. But when you start to notice how people are reclaiming land with these magmatic dikes and altering, I've found that many haulage roads out. That's Lesotho. There's a lot of these lines out there in South Africa. I found one in 94 miles long that's 50 foot wide. Some of them are not as wide, but they're these gaps. Are they canals? Are they roads? I don't know what to call these things.
X marks the spot right there. X marks the
There's a
spot. Go
lot
back
of
to
these
that one.
intersections. This is South Africa. Look how they filled it in when they made the road. They took all that stuff and they filled in that gap. But that gap is its own thing. What is it? And look at the terracing here. This is called Kolonyama. I call it the Kolonyama structure. This is a river going right through. It's gathering water in here, and the water goes out. Okay, let me. I was going to show you something else. Looks like the shape of what?
It looks like the shape of a ship almost. The outside edges, the outer rim.
Well, one thing
Like
they
the hull
have
of a
is
ship.
one of the thing they all have is okay. So I went the wrong way, and now I can't find out where I'm going. I'm going back to where we were just now. Kolonyama. I think this is a beautiful shot right here. And the line continues and goes to another structure that also has a little turn in an intersection. So it's definitely some type of ancient roads. Those little white specks are houses. They all have this mosh pit or this circular structure. There's another one, but could they be dropping stuff in and processing metals? And could have this been one of them cisterns? Okay, so I do want to rush through this and show you that other thing I was going to show you. But see this thing, this reclamation, maybe they were going to put metal in there. And I think these are intelligent mountains. They're, okay, look, I could do that in my lifetime, but the big one, the huge one, I don't think so. And these things, these arcs still in South Africa, 90-degree mountains. We got to find that Angel Island. Here's another 90-degree mountain. I found two sets of these 90-degree mountains. This is back in North America. That's me. I went to Pi Town to check these out. 12-mile long parallel ridges. But the really prominent ones are the ones I showed you just now in Colorado. We're going to get to that stone wall. Wait. No, where's the stone wall? Okay, what happened? Okay, so if I wanted to show you stone wall specifically, so I'm going to rush through this other stuff. You can always get me to share this link with you, no problem. Okay, where is that stone wall at? I think it's the very last thing because I wasn't trying to push my agenda about, water walls, and this is Stonewall. Where is it? Okay, so I already showed some of this. Along the Continental Divide, we have a lot of ridges. And I went there. I was driving right there where the sign is. It says Willow Creek Pass. This is Shiprock. It's bigger than Devil's Tower. There's other mounds around there. There's very symmetrical stuff going on here. I went there too. There's that 13.5-mile long one, but it's distorted. These are like 12 miles long, and that's what the top looks like. I got some samples. It's like clay. It's not like it's magmatic granite. It looks like sandstone to me. That's Spanish Peaks, Colorado, very close to this. And that one I was trying to show you is coming soon. This is Devil's Slide, Utah. I went there. Devil's Slide, Montana. I went there. This is the Devil's Stair Steps. All these magmatic dikes. Okay, there's the stone wall that's the whole reason why I'm showing you this. And the way that you can see these lines, the way the decay goes, it looks to me like could have been geopolymer, where they poured it like cement. And yeah, I'm that guy, because when you see that and you say, oh, look at those straight lines, to me, it says a lot. They're all over that whole area, these lines. And I think they were put there to control water, or maybe like South Africa, they were transport roads. Up down here, and I didn't even show you the one in Australia yet. Down here, that's Sage Wall down there. Up here, I was going to go there, but I had some issue. There's these butte, just like Sutter's Butte, right? All on private property. The reason why I didn't bother going up there is because I went to Sage Mountain. Ignore this fat guy. I lost 35 pounds. I look like that now. There's a flattened nub at the top of Sage Wall. Okay, they cleared out the back, and I got this picture before Mike Collins went back over there with Jimmy. They went there, and they looked at it after I went back. Something was flat. This is not, I think it's geopolymer. Now, the owner of Sage Wall disagrees, but I think when you look at Gornaya Shoria in Russia and other stuff, these ridges, here's Argentina, here's some that I haven't identified yet. I think you see these going across in the Sahara Desert to control water. And that's big, man. That's big. What kind of being could have done that? This is like Zimbabwe. And that's similar angles in Algeria. And then, of course, I told you I was going to show you the last ones that weren't even looking the same. They're literally lines of rocks that have been piled up in Mali. These rocks, I mean, they're literally sus, man. You don't tell me that that's a natural somebody was dumping. This is where all the gold came from. This is where Mansa Musa got his gold. So this is
the richest man from the past and the richest man even considered today. He was so rich he broke and made Egypt go bankrupt at one time when he went to go visit there, because he was handing out, you know, gold and all kinds of stuff to people over there, and that really put a hurting on Egypt's finances.
Well, that's what happened, because he went on his it's called a pilgrimage, right? It's a religious pilgrimage that he went on. A Muslim, obviously, Islamic, and he was heading towards Mecca, right? And when he did that trip, he had so much gold that it was just nourishing his whole trip. And I don't know, I can't even imagine. And then the gold was back home too. Obviously, that what I just showed you, something was going on in Mali. One of the things that I don't show very often, because people get turned off. They don't want to think that this could be bigger than we know. But let me turn off the man, and I'll go over to Africa, and I'll zoom into that area that I just showed you. How are you doing, Fear? Any questions while you're there? Because I know I'm talking. I'm doing all the talking.
He went back to mute. He's probably doing something. Oh, there you go.
I'm going to zoom into Mali. So if you don't know where Mali is, Mali, where Mansa Musa came from, Mauritania. Don't forget, there was a real King Atlas of Mauritania as well. So the Atlantic story is connected. And of course, Morocco, if you look at the Piri Reis map, you see Mansa Musa down here. And up here, you've got the guy from the Marrakesh. He was in charge. I looked it up, and I forgot it. What was his name? I forgot his name. Anyways, but down here in Mali, here's Timbuktu. I definitely would love to add that to my list of places I've been. But headed over here, we can go to this place I just showed you called Tel Abyad. And the funny thing about Tel Abyad is not only does it have these weird mountains that have been literally dumped. To me, I call this the snail trails, overburden dumping from mining in a sort. Maybe they were trying to make a mountain. And you're like, oh, come on, David, making a mountain? The mountain builders? Tyrone, we're going to talk about the mountain builders later, but I believe that these lines that you're looking at right here were some kind of result from mountain building. You actually literally see these so-called snail trails just putzing across the desert. This is not how mountains are created. And they're a total different color. And I just showed you a bunch of pictures of what they look like from these ground photos. They're already broken up. It's like, that's not how igneous rock distributes itself across the planet, in my opinion. So what the hell? I mean, and now the big thing is down here, you've got more circular dikes, like the ones I showed you. And let's not forget, I'll come right back here, but I just want to say, over here in Niger, we have circular dike heaven or hell. I call that the upside down Homer Simpson. But back over in Mali,
shout out to The Simpsons. That's my favorite show.
It's tough to catch all the episodes. But
not for me, bro. I'll be streaming the hell. I'll be watching the hell out of that while I be reading.
I got a lot of catching up to do.
In the background.
I couldn't get into most of the cartoons. I was in Taiwan, so I lost touch with them. And then when it came time to catch up, I just couldn't get back into them. There's just too many. I like my crime dramas, I guess. This thing to me, I think, was created. And if you don't think they're being created, look at this one. What did that one break off and float over here? These are mountains. That is a semicircle. Down below, here's another semicircle I call that the croissant. And I mean, you got to get in here and look at these things and study them. Don't just say, "Oh, shut up, David, you're crazy." Because when you see, I call that, what is that? The arrowhead, maybe. But this,
Yeah, that's what I was going to
this
say.
one right here, that one, that's the horn. I call that the horn. I mean, what's with all these shapes in the middle of the Sahara Desert that nobody talks about? I was looking at this one. It looks like a perfect rectangle was going around something. And so I do have a lot of conspiracy theories about how lines like this are made in the desert. The last one I wanted to show you, and I just wanted to show it real quick because I don't know what your timing's like, but is this one in Australia. That channel called My Lunch Break. He was over here. He was over here looking at a U.S. military base, talking about it. I don't know. It's not really a U.S. military base, but I guess the U.S. has control of it or something. And it was over here in this thing, and it was a total ley line. And, you know, how these structures were created, I don't know. Are they natural? There's part of me that thinks they were not natural. This is a crater, apparently. And it's right in the middle of a valley, just like all these other things we've been looking at.
You know, when I was in our Afghanistan, we used to call
looks like
that
a reef.
inside. Yeah, it does look like. Yeah, it kind of does.
It does look very much like a wreath. Let's go there in Google Maps. Yeah, what did you say about Afghanistan?
Yeah, when I was in Afghanistan, we used to call that the bowl, like inside the bowl. So our camps, our military installations were inside what they would call a bowl. So it would be surrounded by mounds or mountains and stuff like that. So basically, they would have people living on the higher part of the mountains, and we would be like in the middle of that, like dead center in the middle of that. And a lot of times they would shoot rockets from there, and it would take so long for the helicopters to spool up and go out there and check the area and stuff. But it's literally inside the bowl. We would call that inside the bowl. And it's very interesting because whenever I used to when we had to get on our aircrafts to go to different places and stuff like that, you have to go over these mountains, or you'll go through like a little small narrow I guess like opening of it. And it's just crazy that it brings up, yeah, like right in the middle of it. So like some of our installations would be right in the middle, like right where your mouse was at, it would be right in the middle of that.
Is that the safest place to be?
Nah, hell nah, man. They shut that shit down. We had too many people got hurt, man. They would shoot rockets off the top of those mountains right at us. And they would do that all day long, right? Because of the simple fact that you couldn't tell where these people came from or where these rockets came from, without the technology. But by the time we sent what we would call QRF, I was on a QRF team sometimes. If you was on a QRF team, you would have to go out there either by helicopter or by ground convoy, and they knew it. It was just it was. I don't understand why we strategically did that. I'm not the general. I don't know why, but I felt like it was very stupid because after a while they actually shut down some of those installations because they would do that shit every single day. Fob Salerno was called Rocket City. Fob Shank was called Rocket City. It was because it was just too easy for them to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But see, that makes me wonder now because we picked those places to hold some of our installations at. So now my question is, why did the ancient people do that?
Well, and there you go. And when you think of a fortification, the walls around it is where the guards are going to stand and guard and make sure nobody enters and pillages.
We never had that. Like, you see how the road leads into it? That's where the aircraft would probably fly through. It would fly through that'd be the only opening that they have. So it's one way in, one way out in some areas, right? So they knew where to set the IEDs up. They knew where to set the ambushes up. They knew where to set their RPG guys at. I mean, it was just, they were on top of us. and we were just stuck in what they called the bowl, basically.
We got to find that one that you're talking about. And by the way, this topographical is one of my favorites. What's that person saying? Primary water recently discovered 1,500 feet beneath Sarasota, Florida. Guy refused the 5,500 million they offered, and he declined. He's been in jail since. Yeah, exactly. They're going to arrest you for. That's why you don't drive. When somebody offers you millions of dollars, don't drive anymore, or they're going to arrest you for drunk driving. Okay, I wanted to say something about this mound in Australia. It's right in the center of the whole thing in a way, right? If you look at this topographical shot here and you get closer, you already can see this structure here. Is it an outcrop of megabreccia or something? And then, of course, once you get into it, it's like almost the very center of Australia is represented by this donut. I don't know 100%. And yeah, I do highly question these types of mountains all around it. I do have some highly sus thoughts about these types of mountains. And that my lunch break video that I was talking about, here's another one right there, right? Why do they always have a little mound in the middle? The place that my lunch break channel was talking about that's here, it may or may not be released yet because I'm actually a member, so I see the videos come out first. It had apparently tunnels that went everywhere. So this area has apparently been very not up, or apparently it's got a lot of old stuff going on. Now, if you go straight north into Australia up here, I just want to, because I never talk about this, and it's something I discovered in one of my videos. Up here at the very top in this area right here, pretty much right here. So don't say the very top up there, but this area, does it look like a city? It does, but it's not a city. It's a carved up ancient piece of bedrock. I do believe it used to be some kind of city. Something was going on here and they were carving up the land. You can't travel here. This is all off limits to foreigners. You'd have to have special permits to get in there. And I was looking at one thing and then I'll stop talking. Is this thing to me is just bizarre, and how square it is. And I just think it's the Mama Daweri airstrip. I believe that they were carving up the entire mountains. Look how straight those corners are. And were they canals or were they rivers or were they walls? I don't know. Were they transport roads? It's weird right here. But I do think that something was going on in Australia. And this is almost a perfect, I wouldn't say square, but to me, it looks like someone's definitely machined the hell out of this land and done something to it. And you can get, and that's the outskirts. Go back downtown. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. It's what I call downtown, including weird holes. Let me find the thing I want to show you. So there's downtown right there. And that's like literally, you go to the top of the plateaus and they look like they have been machined. And then over here, you find a grid of ancient cisterns, holes of some sort, just like those ones. Well, they're big that I showed you in South Africa. Where's the holes at? I kind of got lost. Is it right there? Okay, I kind of got lost. Let me try to find them, but I'll stop talking. I'll find the cisterns and I'll tell you when I found them. But look how machined this is. Where are those? Look at this part right there. Doesn't that look like somebody was doing machining on top of that mountain? Agriculture, but it's like the carved stone instead.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till I find those circles, and then I'm going to stop talking and let you talk for a while. Once I find the circles, you'll see them.
I think that's interesting because I'll be honest with you. I'm not a geologist. I'm not educated on the part of knowing what is man-made and what is not man-made. I can't tell the difference. I know there's a way you can do it. That's why I asked Dr. Gregory Little on it, and I'm still going to continue to do my research and due diligence on it, of course. But it seems like every time they created one of these mounds that were, whether they were partly man-made or partly natural, whichever way people want to look at it, it was a very sacred location. And that's why one of the questions I asked was, if is there any Native American cultures around that you know of? Because I'm pretty sure somebody believes that's sacred. There, you talked about how at the one in California, that they had the gate over there, and then it was that sometimes it's closed off and sometimes it's opened up. There's no signs around there. Usually, when they have something historical like that, they usually have some kind of sign that tells you a little bit about it, um, and gives you a little bit of an idea of the location. What I like to know is, what about the writing system or pictographs? Because you talked about the Chinese railroad that they did, what I think in the 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. And I did a podcast discussion with V Duo, who's on Twitter, and
Yeah.
she's very intelligent on the part of the Chinese, the Shang dynasty. The only thing that I feel like is missing is the connection with the Sumerians, because a lot of what she was talking about, I could find relationships with the Sumerians. Believe it or not, the Sumerian language and the Chinese language have, or the pictographs, I should say, has a lot of similarities. They're actually, I posted it plenty of times on Twitter, or X, I should say, and Facebook and stuff like that. And I talked about it in the past. They actually have a book that's related to that. So it's just very interesting, because I want to know if there's a way to determine the actual history of that place, because like you said, nobody's really, you talked about it before, nobody's really talking about it. And there's really not any in-depth research on this. But
let me just comment this, and then I'll stop talking again.
Yeah,
so as I'm showing you, I did study Chinese. I know V Duo. She won't speak to me in Chinese. I guess she lives in LA, but I'm not sure. But we have kind of hit head-to-head on a few topics. And the thing is that cuneiform is basically, and I agree with you that they're very similar. The Chinese strokes have some curves, but most strokes are just a straight line. And the cuneiform is basically made with a stylus. It's just a straight line. I really wish I could find those circles to show you, but I'm having bad luck. But yeah, I think there's a lot of similarity between Chinese and that's why I do want to learn from you, because I know you've studied this probably more than anybody else I've talked to. And I would love to kind of establish some, there it is. Okay, so I found my circles. Now this is one of them, there's two of them. But as you can see, some type of circles were being carved in the ground right here. There's another one over here. If I make sure I'm going the right way. Maybe it's over here. I just feel like somebody was scratching up this bedrock. But anyways, I think I'll give up the screen for you, and we can finish talking about what you just said. But yeah, so here's those circles. Yeah, it's definitely native. I'm sorry. Here in Australia, you might want to say Aboriginal land. Okay, I look at this right here, and I see one thing. Do you see these perpendicular lines going against this? This looks like a natural river. It's curved. It's more natural than. But these little lines, they're not natural. I believe those were carved in there by somebody trying to do some type of a placer or placer mining. And these circles here, I think these cisterns were a processing center. There's more circles over here.
Or a place to hold water. Or a place to hold water.
Yeah, well, there's active water there's the other circles up here. Check this out. Mm-hmm. Look at that. And it's right next to this, what looks like a natural river area. And yeah, how close can you get? Just weird stuff. I think that those are not natural, but maybe some.
I just want to know how that was created, because, and what's so interesting is by a river. Are there beavers that's around there? Because maybe if we study how the beavers built their dams and stuff, then they who knows? We don't know if, I'm not saying beavers built it or cut up the rock or anything like that. But why is it significant in just those certain locations? We know beavers will build dams in certain locations to control, the waterways and all that other stuff.
This one circle, I mean, because you can see a bush, and a beaver can cut down that tree right there. This is 100 foot right there. So this is 100, maybe 300 feet across. And to me, the fact that it's right next to all this other highly sus stuff going on here, I just think it shows more intelligence than nature. But it's true. There's always the chance. I think beavers cutting through bedrock, what looks to me like bedrock. It looks like it's machined. I think it's it's mining. I think it's some type of ancient mining, and they're really doing a weird job of it in this place.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't saying beavers were cutting the bedrock, but I just wanted to know, like, where you were showing, like, go back up. You see that you see where you had the river, the river on the right hand side where your mouse is at right now, where it has those little slashes that it looks like right there.
Oh, the straight
Go,
lines, the straight lines.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
All those
earlier I was
straight
talking
lines.
about
Yeah.
these two right there were two straight lines. Over here, I think it's happening again where you've got, I mean, it's not quite perpendicular, but it's going directly straight across. Like it's the opposite of a dam. Like they're trying to canal it. I mean, and then right over here, you've got these circles. I don't know. And the way that the color changes, I feel like when in South Africa, when you see this white stuff moving around like they were doing some maybe kind of giant mining slurry, or maybe it was a natural thing. I mean, all I'm saying about certain curves like that is we need to see how likely is a curve like that going to show up naturally. And I find a lot of
The
these
only
curves.
way that could be is by water. Water
Look
would
how it
probably form it.
junctions with this line right here. It junctions right into it and stops. It looks like it's going across like some kind of a weird, like it's curving down this way and this one's curving down that way. Nature, yeah, water. Unnatural, somebody who's very sloppy. Somebody who's very sloppy. So I don't know what to call this place yet. I've shown it before. It's up here, and I heard that it's off limits. Of course, it's a national park, and I've looked into it a little bit, and you can't get into it. It's just north of that mound that I was showing you, and yeah, the weird mounds and valleys. I'm closing these windows down now. Say goodbye to California. Say goodbye to the Utah Mound. This was right next to Moab. And right next to Canyonlands, and I think that area is highly suspect to be an ancient mine. Arches National Park, I think it's highly sus. I know it doesn't look like it's that organized from here, although that right there, I've never seen that before. Look at that mound. Nah, that's barely a mound. Anyways, that's the Utah area near Moab. Oh, we were supposed to figure out where Angel Island is out here in Mexico, Baja California. Let's look up Angel Island. Because he was saying it connected directly. Is that Angel Island? That couldn't be it. Is that it? That's not it. Let me look it up on the Google. Remember back in the day you couldn't search stuff on Google because porn would pop up?
Had the pop-up blockers, all pop-ups all the time.
Yeah, you had to make sure to have all the safety on. Now, Baja California. Let's try that. Angel Island, Baja California. I wonder if he's still here. Angel Island, Bay Island, 360-degree views. Where's that? Isla Ángel de la Guardia. Must be talking about right there. Isla Ángel de la Guardia. Okay. See, I remember he said that before, and it was kind of hard for me to connect the dots there. Let's go right again, because he said, this is it, Stonewall. He says, this is the place that connected to Angel Island, Baja California. And you can definitely see something's going on right there. Let's make sure it's pointing north-south. Okay. So that's north-south. And we've got where was that? Now it disappeared? Oh, there. Well, it kind of disappeared, but it's right here. Let's close that. I don't know what I just did. Yeah, Colorado, I really want it. There it is right there. So you have that whole mountain area right there. Just, wait a minute. So I guess it's technically in New Mexico. No. Stonewall's there, north of it in Colorado. So that's where he was talking about. That's where I showed you. And now we're supposed to follow this down to Angel Island, Baja California. I mean, the only way I could really see doing that is to follow the Colorado River right there. Wait, Colorado River doesn't go through Albuquerque, New Mexico, does it? What river is this? That's Rio Grande. So that goes back over by Texas. That makes some interesting point, though. So he's saying Stonewall not only can go over to Texas, but it also goes, I guess it kind of looks right there. This island right here, Angel Island. I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
Me
maybe there's a ley
personally,
line. Sorry?
it could be. It could be a ley line. It could be a ley line. I mean, it could be a connection to everything. I have to look more into it.
Let's look at
But
the
yeah,
map. So let's okay, so where were we? So basically it's hard to find. By the way, look at all these other mounds in the middle of these, attributed to, by the way, volcanoes. And down by Pie Town, New Mexico. How much more time do we got?
we can go another 30 minutes. I won't start it till 9. Hey, I was just looking up ley lines in California. You know about Mount Shasta, right? You been there?
Sure, I haven't been there. It's very sacred too, by the way.
And Mount Tamalpais, the mystery spot in Santa Cruz. They have one in there. They
Well, see, a
actually,
ley line is not necessarily something you can see.
yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean? Let me go over to find what I was trying to do is just do that quick Angel Island line, but I'm having bad luck. See, it's right here. It's easy to find. There's the Spanish Peaks. Those are those ridges, Devil's Stair Steps. I highly recommend you drive around those mountains. Down here, that's Stonewall right there. So if we look at that and we see this little valley, Stonewall's right next to it. Okay, good. So now I got to figure it out. There's the little valley. Stonewall's right there. Something like that. So yeah, you have a little valley there. Maybe through here. I wouldn't call that a ley line. I would say ley lines are really straight. You have Angel Island, but how did it get through these mountains here? It's a tough find. And I'm not against believing some of these mountains could have been shifted. Let me show you Pie Town and a couple of things next to Pie Town since we got a few more minutes. Whoops, that's chess. I don't want to play chess. Although I did play a good game the other day. Kick some ass.
Yeah, I play
man.
with you. I play you in chess. I ain't played chess in a while. I used to love playing. I used to play
I
that
play
shit when
chess
on
every day.
lunchtime in school. I used to go to the library and go play chess with some dude. I can't remember his name. It was years ago, of course. But we used to go in there and we used to meet up every day at lunchtime to go play, a quick 30, 45-minute game chess.
Oh, really? I'm doing 5-minute games.
Nah, my brain don't work like that, bro. I need a little bit more time to think.
Yeah, I won't do a 1-minute game. That's a little bit too much. What was I just going to show you? I was going to show you, oh yeah, so right over here. Just so we don't have to kind of mess around. These ridges, these parallel ridges, I went there. I got up on top of it. I almost killed myself on the ridge. They're definitely there. This is the road. That's the top of the ridge. Okay, that's the spine of the ridge. And this is something that I found these ridges really hard to see on Google Earth. So it really took a lot of time before I really got to know. Pie Town, New Mexico, the ridge goes into the mountains. And here again, the ridge goes into the mountains. I think, oh, and when I was driving through there, I met these hikers and I'm like, hey, where are you guys going? And they're like, we're hiking the Colorado, sorry, we're hiking, well, I'm sorry, we're hiking the Continental Divide. So I met those guys down there. And then up here in Willow Creek, I found the sign that said Continental Divide. I realized, oh my God, they really are, there's really something going on here. I believe that these ridges were put there to create and direct the watershed. And so that ship rock, I think these ridges, I don't even know what they were doing with these ridges. I mean, I can't zoom in right now, but if you look at the symmetry of those 4 mounds right there, and you can drive in there, I found some really old burial mounds there too. There's a lot of things to talk about. I don't want to show those burial mounds, but there's the road that I took, and you pull off and you drive along the first ridge, the first magmatic dike, and you say to yourself, how the heck did this thing stay still while everything else in this whole valley, including this, eroded away? It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. And some of these are super long, 13.5 miles, going across waterways, by the way. Again, these are not on the Continental Divide, but they seem to me to be put there somehow. These, if you look carefully, they are junctioning and stopping, and the peak of the very top is stopping and junctioning right at the very top of the other ridge. How does that work with magma and cracks, natural cracks. This is supposed to be a natural crack. I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be somebody was putting, to me, it looks like.
Who says that though? Who says that it's actual a natural crack? Like who can we go to and say, hey, you say this is a natural crack. Why can you explain why it is?
So here, these are not exactly the same. To me, that's the same thing. That is the same so-called wall, just like the ones that we've been looking at. But because these have a little bit of a different orientation, now they call these uplifted strata layers. But now, if you look in the side here, this is so flat. This one in Utah, this is a bad picture. I need to get the one that I took, where you got the sun shining in there, and the line is making it totally flat. And it's an uplifted strata layer. And this one right here, there's a bunch of them. And yeah, they do look very much like strata layers that have been uplifted. But to me, especially when this so-called uplifted strata layer side by side with what looks like a volcanic dike, I mean, I guess they're kind of in the same ballpark in a way. What the heck made that lift up like that and then hollow out in the middle of it? And you got some more over there. So it is a good argument, but to me, they just look a little bit too, especially this one. This one is so beautiful. And I want to say something about this one. Let me zoom in there real quick. I just learned how to find that. Where is it? We just learned how to find it. It's right here. So here's the Spanish peaks. And when you zoom in, you start to see all those volcanic magma lines. The big one that I just showed you is called the Devil's Stair Steps. It's visible from the road. It's probably right there. That's probably it right there. But there's all these other ones. Look at this one that goes north-south. This is a very interesting one. And right next to it, you've got one there. And I think that they were controlling water with this stuff. Then you've got the Spanish peaks. You've got these lines going all across. Why do you have them going directly across the natural way? So you've got the lines that seem like they're flowing naturally from the top of the mountains. Sure, that makes a little sense. Maybe over here where the Devil's Stair Step, all these. And yeah, it's very chaotic. It's very chaotic to try to say those are not natural. But when you look and see how they go across waterways, and also this stuff is ferromagnetic. There's an arch over here that you can drive under. They actually created an arch underneath it. A road that goes right underneath the arch. I went under that arch. It's pretty cool. And when I did, I got a couple of up-close pictures. But to me, it doesn't make sense to say that these are unintelligent. They look intelligent to me. They look like they've got a point. These, I think, are transport roads going from basically the beginning of the Rocky Mountains up here. I don't know what to do to explain. I call these the scissoring dikes of Colorado. Don't Google that. If you Google that, you got to delete your search history. They seem to be going out into the middle of nowhere, and they're very far away. These are, I mean, that's like 10,000 miles. I'm sorry. Let's just look at it. Let's just look at it. You go up to 25, and you see Spanish peaks. And the reason why I brought you here was to show you the arch. I can't pronounce it until I see it. It's right here. The Apapacha Arch. It's just so weird. Where is it? Oh, it's over here. Wait, I got the wrong one. No, that's it. So you can drive up pretty far up in here. You can literally drive up in here. And you can get a couple of shots. I think it's over here. Okay, you can drive up right, the Cordova Pass. You can drive up there. And then when you're coming over here, you go through the arch. Did I turn? There it is. The Apachapa Arch. Where is it? Around here somewhere. It's got to be like right up in here. Right in here. Where is that arch at? Anyways, I'm just letting you know that it's one of the only ones you can literally touch. And you can look at up close. You can climb up into it. And I think we can drop the man in here. Can we drop the man? No? Guess not. I don't know where that arch is, but it's right around here. There, Mike's Ranch. Where's the arch? Damn it. Where's the arch? Okay. For some reason, it's not showing up, but the campground's pretty cool. You just drive through here and you'll find the arch. I don't know why I can't find it. Honestly, if I did it again and I wanted to go up to the arch, where's the arch? What's that word? Apishapa Arch. Apishapa River. Where's the Apishapa Arch? I know people are like, I'm leaving. He's boring me now. Apishapa. We're already near the end. Okay, Apishapa Arch, Agalia Kalava. Come on now. Finally. Why wouldn't it show it? Okay, so when you zoom in, you can see that the road goes right. So they made an arch there, and here's the pictures. And so, yeah, you can climb up here and get some samples at the top of the arch. And over here, I got some, I didn't really get samples I took away, but I got some pictures of this arch. And you've got, basically it looks like granite. I climbed up here. It looks very different. I have to look at my personal images that I took. But that arch kind of, I believe that this might be a layer of cement they put there because that's not the same material. Highly sus. I kind of feel like that's all cement that they put on top of it. I'm not sure. So I didn't trust that. So I went over to the side. Doesn't it look like that?
That looks all.
I still couldn't hear you. Oh, hi, Fear.
As an engineer,
what?
As an engineer and a stonemason, that looks composite.
Composite
that stone,
meaning
it looks
geopolymer. Geopolymer. Meaning, right?
That and
yeah,
like
I think so too.
put together by man.
Well, here you can see what's supposed to be the actual volcanic dike. That's a good shot right there. And you can see that, yeah, the stonework that's clearly, by the way, right at the top, you can see the pine tree. The land, I forgot the state, the department, the land department, whatever. You can see their logo right there. But yeah, definitely what we see right on the top, this white part, again, I agree, looks composite. This up here, that's supposed to be the real McCoy, in my opinion. By the way, right now we're looking west. So we got to get over to the other side where we saw that piece that you were saying. I think it was what you were talking about. I'll show you again. This is looking, where's that one? This was looking east. That's looking east. And there you can see what looks like the natural stuff at the top. But yeah, to me, that looks like they totally used a putty knife and covered it with cement.
Yeah, they were.
I don't know why they would have done
that. Literally, right there, that picture right there. It looks like they went stucco style with the cement.
Yeah, right here. Maybe because they thought it was going to fall off. You know, to me, for sure,
yeah,
right? And you know what really proves it right there. Why would it go up? Why would it overlap this stone here? This stone for sure is their doing. There's that little pine tree I was talking about. And then you can see this stuff seems to be overlapping it. Definitely butting up against the edge of each little rock there. So to me, it looks like, and maybe this part fell off.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was like on those sides, especially on an incline, anything that looks like it's gonna fall down, you're gonna patch on top of it, and that looks like spackle, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm using joint compound. This is a good shot of the whole spackled side. And you're seeing the original arch. That's the main work. And then you're seeing this, I don't want to say inferior. It's some type of a work was done. It's not as good as the main work here, right? Like that's the real stuff. That's the real carved stones that they put in there. The real engineers did that. That totally looks spackled over right there for sure. Yeah. And, you know, I think I took some samples from over here. I can't remember. And now I didn't take samples. I took some pictures, up close photos. And one thing that I should have done was to check and see if it was ferromagnetic. Because I can tell you the stuff that I found over here in Colorado, this stuff right here. This was okay, so I showed you these two ridges, Pie Town. And I went to both of them. And I found a guy here. His name was the Hiking Viking. And I knew what he was doing because I had already met these hikers over here by Pie Town. And I knew they were doing the whole sorry, what's it called? I always forget the word. Continental divide hike, 3,000 miles, right? But the thing was, is that when I went to there, I climbed this tall one, and when I got to the other one, I was like, oh, this one's not very tall. The road was right there, but the truth is that there's some parts that are very tall. And I grabbed one of these rocks here because it's on a road. So I figured, what the heck? I'm not on anybody's private property. It's public land. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to grab it and put it in my car. When I got home with it, a magnet sticks to it. I could literally change the phone and take you out there and show you. Unfortunately, it's covered with grass right now, so I got to trim it off. But this stuff in here, I believe this is related. This was the spine at the top of the other one, but this stuff is ferromagnetic. It attracts a magnet. As a engineer, what kind of geological substance could this be? And could it be a geopolymer? Because I really think that some ancient giant was making these lines. They were making these things. Look how this thing is arced this way. And this one is arced like a shut eye. This one's arced like an open eye. And down here, the thing that jumps with it, go on, I'm listening.
It just depends. Like, did you do any composite analysis? Like, was there any iron in there? Was there any graphite, any carbon? Because that has a lot to do with it for like to figure out the reasonings why. Or
let me say, I have a few samples. I don't know how to do that by myself. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how to do that by myself. But if I could, I would. And yeah, I'm happy to hand these samples over to anybody else. I didn't get any samples from these because I couldn't really reach them. I did get one. I think I got one from Willow Creek. And by the way, I'm ready to go back and go one more time and see, and take a magnet and stick it right on it and see if it's magnetic. You know.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
what I
not
was going
really.
to ask you. Do you ever bring a compass to one of these places?
Who, me? I do. I do. This one. But the thing is, it's really hard to reach them. You can't just walk up. Like this one you can walk up to. This was Pie Town, New Mexico. But you can see I couldn't go down there. There was an opening over here. I drove down about a mile. I climbed up to the top of this, and I took these pictures. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. I grabbed a few of these little chips. But to me, that doesn't look like granite. What the hell is that stuff? And this is the other one. I think it's related. It's the same material. This is called, that's Santa Fe. Sorry, that's New Mexico, Pie Town. And then this is Colorado. This is from Google Earth. It's a shot from where people put their post pictures. And you can see all sorts of these. That's the north-south one. It's not perfectly straight, but it goes perfectly north-south. And why does it do that? And there's other things about these when you zoom into them. There's so many things. Like I feel like they had some type of a toothpaste. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. If you need to interrupt me, go ahead. That's the Apashapa Arch. And you can see how it doesn't really match over here. Like what happened? Was it a tectonic offset of some sort that made it snap away? I do have a theory about that. And I found, just like in Africa, near the Eye of Africa where I went, I think I found some similar start stops. I got to find it real quick. Here it is right here. Somebody took, is this it? That's not it. Where is it? I got to make sure I'm north-south. Okay, so I believe this is it right here. I call that the north-south wall. And one of the things here is, I think this is highly sus right here. Like if somebody was creating that, what caused that tweak? I think you can see the examples of this tweak right here. It's, I think, a start-stop where they were taking this material out of like a tube of toothpaste and they were dropping it in there. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I was muted just now. I thought I was not muted. I'm going to start again. This is the north.
We heard you. We heard everything you said. Or at least I did.
Well, it was blinking just now. I saw it blinking. Maybe I just hit it accidentally. So you heard me talk about this is like a tweak. I call this a start-stop, where like somebody was putting this material down with like a tube of toothpaste or the the bag that the baker uses to put the frosting on the cake. You know that bag? And they literally putting it on a line. And I think that they're putting material on both sides to hold it upright. I just have this suspicion. But the way this thing stops, and you can see this straight flat edge, and it like the guy went back and said, "Hold it, oh, Mr. Giant." Said, okay, I'm going to keep going now. And he went back and he had to tweak it back to go in the same direction as the previous part of the wall. And there's a lot of places where that start-stop is found, especially in North America, but also even in South Africa, I've seen it. You can see that start-stop. I think this could be another one right there. And you can see where sometimes that start-stop is purposely laid there because they want to allow water to go past it. And then when we go back over here, I think that's what we're seeing is the guy stopped right at the junction of the other dike. But down over here, he like left a place where water can pass through. Sometimes you can see rivers actually taking advantage of it. Let me find that one. It's very close. I'm going to find that stop that I was showing you, and you can see how similar it is. Okay, over here, you can see on the north side, the junction hits it, but on the other side, it stops short. And where's that start-stop? I got it around here. Let me look. Let me find that Cal Topo one, because I think that's going to be the one that can show it real quick. What's that? Timeout. It's right here. Okay, when you look at it, you can see that there's no stopping. This is okay, but right here, maybe there was a start and a stop right there, like the toothpaste theme, the theory. And when you look at these lines down here, you can kind of see maybe they did that on purpose right there so the water could pass through. Or maybe the water breached it naturally. Like here, that's a road. Here, that's a road, right? You don't know with water. You don't see a river next to it. But a couple of them do look just like those start-stops as well. I can't remember where it was, so I'm not going to guarantee I can find it anymore. Anyways, what do you think, Fear? Do you think that it looks like these walls could be manufactured, or do you think I'm crazy? Be honest.
I believe that they could be manufactured. There's a lot of evidence that's pointing that they are, especially the perpendicular lines, the adjacent lines. Even just looking at the regular ground point of view, the weathering. Yeah, some of it looks natural, but some of it looks natural on top of what was man-made.
Look at this little tweak right here. Now, if you don't know okay, so when I went and visited here, I found through the signs, like you mentioned earlier, there's always signs, especially when it's a national park. Look at those angles. Look at the way that one is going straight there. It tweaks over here and then goes there. These are not walls. These are dikes. These are volcanic. But what I was going to say is that they say that they were. Say that again.
Do you have a protractor? Can you measure out that angle? That looks like a 30-degree angle.
I swear to God, I was just saying that. I should have one in my hand. Now, I do have a protractor, but it's too hard to do. So let me do my homework and I'll get back to you on this, okay? Because look at those angles there. Now, I have checked some of them, and they never gave me enough motivation to keep checking. So there's a couple of angles in the Rashat structure that I can show you.
Do you have a tracing compass? If you have a tracing compass, just open the points to each line, and then just look at the degrees in the middle. So you don't have to use a protractor. Just take point to point on each line, and then look at the degrees in the middle.
That's a tracing compass, an app separate from. It's another. See, the one thing I use that I wish had something like that is this screen snipping tool. What I do usually is I grab it and then I put it in my. Let me do it again so we can actually follow through. I should get one that I literally am holding in my hand. These are those lines we were just looking at right here, right there. Is that it? Where's that little tweak? See, it's so hard to see from Google Earth. You have to go to the topography to see this stuff. And where's that one rectangle, that one triangle? let me just say it's definitely something I got to go get a one that I can literally put. I got to go to Walmart and buy one, and I can put it right on the screen, and I can look at those angles, and then I can write them down on a piece of paper. Because, well, let's just do it this way. Okay, there this is here, and then we'll grab this here, and I'll take another shot right there. I'll just grab. Where's that one angle? I guess I didn't grab that one, but that's okay. I like these right here. Those angles right there, they look like they're starting from the beginning right there. So then I go into my my drive and I look up protractor, and you can see all the old protractor. I have 3 copies here, so I don't know which one I was using last, but I was doing something. I was getting this angle. It was in Zimbabwe. And every time I check it and it kind of disappoints me, I'll just stop talking. So there's the protractor there. And then I'll put my picture here. Now here's the hard part. We got to kind of get this like this so we can get the angle right. So I'm going to make it parallel with kind of, that's as pairs as I can get it. And then I'll put this right on top of it. And now I got to put this to the front. And yes, it's already translucent. We get that right on there, and we can zoom in and see for ourselves what we got going. That looks like 100 degrees, baby. That looks like 100 degrees. Hold on, let me zoom in here so you can see it more clearly. I mean, it's not perfect. I tried to put the protractor right on that corner. Let me get it off there so we can see from the beginning. So here's this. It looks like it's a little bit arced. It doesn't look like it's a straight line. And I tried to make it as flat as possible, but if you put it at the bottom of the screen, you can see how arced that is, right? You can see it starts above it, it goes down and touches the bottom of the screen, and then it comes back up a little bit. So it's not a perfectly straight line, but that's not saying that it's not because of the angle of the satellite imagery. But if I can kind of like put the flat part right across it and simultaneously put that right in the corner again, right there. Pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Not perfect. It's so close to the 100 degrees. Look at that. No, it's not 100 degrees. That's 105 degrees. Sorry, I lied. So, it's a tough one with the protractor. Trust me, I've worked with it, but I think getting a plastic one I hold right up to the screen is definitely the way to go, because this is a lot of trouble for me, as you can tell. Let's do it one more time, though. I'd love to get the angle. So this one is like 105, right? So now if we take this one and turn it all the way over and get it flattened out over here. I got lost. Okay, let's get it right here. See, I'm already a little bit lost. So we got this one before, so we're going to get this one down here. See, but there's too many. There's a bunch of other ones that are confusing. So yeah, I do believe that these ancient giants were just going nuts. These ancient giants were like basically the way I do carpentry. I don't use a lot of measuring devices. I just estimate everything. And yeah, my stuff's not perfect. See, I can't even see a good starting point here. Let's try the other one. So we already tried that one. That was 105. This one right here, right there. That's perfect, right? Almost. I'll tweak it a little bit. There, let's try that. And we're doing this other angle, and there's actually 2 there. So I'm gonna have to zoom out. Let's do this. Which one's part of the big triangle? Right here? Okay. I mean, it's not a perfect science. And yeah, if you get the perfect where you are the true. All right, now I got to zoom up and let's find out where that line goes. I mean, what is it? It's very close to 105 all over again, right? Very close to 105 again. There might be something to that.
If you want me to start talking about math, I'm going to be lost in the sauce. I'm not good at math at all. As soon as I see a lot of numbers and all this other stuff, I get lost as hell. Give me a book and I'll read it. But I tell you, one of the hardest books I've ever read was called The Almagest from Ptolemy. It was all mathematics, bro. That book made my head hurt the whole entire time. I'm really bad. I'm not going to say I'm bad at math. Math is just.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Look, I'll open any scientific paper and my eyes roll back up into my head. And by the way, that is a north-south line right there. That is a north-south line right there. I mean, yeah, I can't change the orientation of the compass in this topographical map. I think if I went into Pro and I paid them, I might be able to rotate this. But right now, I can't do it. Like, I can do that here. I can do it right here. Where is that triangle? Right here, I can do it, right? But in the topographical one, because it's free, where's that line, that north-south line? What I want to see there, is that it right there? Let's find it. If I go to that north-south line right there, and then I go up to the top, we have this other one way up here. It's just too weird to have all these weird lines and say, yeah, that's how the mountains were built naturally. So the natural geologist who's from that neighborhood, I forgot his name, but his name's on some of the signs. And I was going to say this for fear because I wanted to make sure you heard this. The geologist here, he's forgot his name, but he has found all these lines and he's put them in his book, and the book's in the library, the local library in Kuchara or Veda. And I talked to the librarian about her, and she's like, this is the only place in the world that these things exist. I'm like, and she said, except for one other place. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not true at all. I found them everywhere in the world, and I've been looking at these before I went to visit some in Morocco, before I went to visit the ones in, well, they're not the only ones in the world, but the mainstream explanation, and you tell me, looking at this right here, is that there was bedrock, probably made out of something soft, that cracked. So these things are supposed to be cracked. Event number 1, large cracks formed from tectonic earthquakes. Event number 2, magma filled these cracks. Event number 3, they crystallized and got hard. Event number 4, the surrounding bedrock eroded away. Does that look like what you're looking at here? Or do you look like it's on top of all this shit? It's not eroding away. Nothing's eroded away.
Scenario number 5. Scenario number 5, that because it was soft, well, you can't have soft bedrock without creating a hole. So it could have been like some sort of like sink fissure.
Oh, okay. So you broke up a little bit, but what I heard was the area around the dike is sinking slightly. Instead of eroding away, it just sank
Never
away.
mind.
You don't like that idea anymore? Let me show you Shiprock. Shiprock's down here. And by the way, I keep going to Caltapo here because I wanted to start here at my Pi Town dikes. Trust me, I mean, I'm not going to shit on any theories. I want to suss them out and understand them. Because if I'm proven wrong, then I can stop freaking out about all this stuff. So if here you go back down to Pi Town and you've got this one dike here. And by the way, the dike has these spurs, these switchbacks. There's the river. I think they were created to control the water. That's the continental divide right there. And then over here, again, the guy hiking the continental divide trail went right through here. I met him. His name was the Hiking Viking. So before I navigate up there to show you what I was going to show you, it's called Shiprock. I want to show you this weird stuff right here. What creates this little opening here? Why is this one the same? Some of them are not the same, but these weird little, were they not little cisterns? Could they indeed be volcanoes? Why are the rims breached like this? It's very similar to the octagon in Ohio. And I don't want to go there right now because I want to keep showing you stuff. Also, we keep having these weird mounds on top of plateaus that look like they were centered on purpose. Was somebody doing some type of, I mean, first of all, why were these two long ridges built here? To control water, I believe. Okay, so they needed the water for something. The water was coming from probably these mountains, and they were getting that water, and what were they doing with it? And yeah, there's something going on here with this ridge. This one, I swear to God, I climbed it, okay? And there's a nub on the side here. They often do have these little nubs on the side. I almost had a heart attack when I climbed up here. And I thought to myself, man, if I had just died of a heart attack right now, would that be the best thing in the world or the worst thing? Because nobody's going to find me for a long time. I did a live stream right afterwards, but if I had died after that live stream, they would have found me. But look at this mountain right here. It looks a little too convenient. And then it hits this little ridge, but it curves around and goes over here. How is this ridge just so perfect? There's another one to the side right there. So I drove through here and I got in here and I climbed right here. And there's one spot where it's like a perfect road. So I really do think they were transport roads or maybe canals, raised canals. But when you go to the north up here, you can start to see more activity, more questionable ridges, these weird activity. This is the beginning of the, what do you call it? Sorry. The Rocky Mountains. It's kind of hard for me to find, so I'm going to type in Ship Rock because I know that I talk a lot, and I'll allow you to interrupt me. Just make a noise and I'll shut up.
No, I was going to say, yeah, we should end it soon because I'm about to do that presentation. You remember? Got that presentation there.
Yep, I'm going to let you go and take care of that. Give me 2 more minutes to talk about this, and then I'll shut my mouth and let you do the outro. This is Ship Rock. It's taller than Devil's Tower, and you were talking about how could it be a sink? Did everything around it sink down? Well, this is supposed to be a volcanic plug of some sort, but if you notice,
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said scenario number 5, because it was on soft bedrock. What happens when you have soft compared to hard? Whenever if anything shifts, it creates a sinkhole. It creates a sink fissure at that point. That's what I said.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Look at what happened by this river. Is that all modern day stuff by the river? Sometimes it is modern, sometimes it's not. Yeah, I suggest you take a road trip and go here someday. You can drive right in there unless they fence it off. There's the entry point I took right there in this road. You should have a 4x, but the idea of it and take a look at some drone footage of that wall. It's probably one of the most prominent ridges I've seen, and it goes in 3 different directions. Anyways, so yeah, I believe that there was a primordial terraforming of the planet. Sometimes you can see stuff and you question why we have these mounds in these valleys. And yeah, I'm thinking this stuff that we're looking at like is really super old. The walls in the mound up here in California, I don't think it's that old. Maybe they're 10,000 years old. Maybe they're old, but I think that the stuff that I just showed you, these ridges are made by somebody 1 million years ago. And, and mainly for water. Anyways, I'll shut up and you can close my screen or I'll stop sharing my desktop and I'll let you get started on your next project.
All right, right on. Just tell everybody where they can find you at real quick, and then we'll go to Fear, and he can tell us where to find his stuff at.
Thanks. And Fear, sorry I talked the whole time. And when you first got in here, you were talking about some big stuff going on in your life, and I do hope that it gets better for you real soon. As far as finding me, I'm going to be doing Patreon more, and I'm going to be putting a terabyte of unuploaded videos on my terabytes. So check out my Patreon. My website is davidstighansen.com. It's right there, and my name, my picture. You'll find my artwork. I look frozen. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm looking at my frozen screen and then the last thing is my YouTube is Stig @Stig, or go to youtube.com/DavidCHansen. Go to davidchansen.com if you want to just find the link there. And yes, I want to go back to the Rashad structure again. And guess what? Tyrone, you going to go with me in November, or what's going on there?
Man, we're going to figure out something, brother.
We'll talk more about that later. I'll let you get out of here. I'll let this end. And Fear, back to you.
Yeah, let's go, Fear. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, everything that I got going on right now is just I'm working on the cookbook and taking care of some home stuff at the moment, and but things are on the making on Rocks, Ruins, and Recipes on my podcast, my side project.
but also be on the lookout for the cookbook, Disobedience. But you can find me on Twitter at Faris, FEAR underscore, or FEARIECE underscore Trev, TREV. That's where you can find me and what I'm up to.
Right on, right on. And now to me, Journey Through the Origins of History can be bought on Amazon, became a bestseller. Everything you want to find out about me or read anything about me or anything like that, I share a lot on my website, rebirthoftheword.com. I also want to give a couple of shout outs to one. I want to give a shout out to Lil Vibe. You can find him on Spotify. He makes music. A lot of it has to do with historical stuff. Very talented individual. I highly recommend his music. Then I want to give a shout out to Ricardo Cavero. He has written a book, the Resident Earth, very good book. Talks about ley lines and Earth's energy and stuff like that. Then I also have to give a shout out to Ethan Indigo Smith, who wrote the book The Geometry of Energy: How to Meditate, and it's by him. He wrote this book, very interesting. I just got done reading it. We're going to be doing a podcast discussion on it. Very talented individual, very intelligent individual. So check them out. And we're going to end it right there. Thank you for everybody for watching, and we're going to catch you guys next time.